Planning on moving to Colorado Springs and have a ton of questions? We've got the top 5 frequently asked questions that every resident needs to know about Colorado Springs.
And if you're thinking about making the move, these answers could save you a lot of headache. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
So let's get into the first question. What is traffic like in Colorado Springs?
And we will also talk about the airports. So compared to major cities, Colorado Springs traffic really isn't that bad. I've said for a long time, actually I used to say you could get anywhere in Colorado Springs in about 20 minutes. But since it's grown and developed and we've really moved a lot further to the east side and developed a lot more on the north, you can get anywhere in usually about 30 minutes in Colorado Springs. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's pretty true. During rush hour, especially in areas like Powers and I-25, you might experience a few delays, but overall it's not as bad as Denver and that whole fiasco there.
There's another area on I-25 near Fillmore. For some reason, that place always gets backed up. They did fix the traffic routing over there. But if you're planning on traveling on I-25 either direction, plan for a little bit of a delay near the Fillmore area on a daily basis, pretty much no matter what time of the day it is.
Yeah, we very rarely see like back-to-back, bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Like Denver. Denver is very common for that.
Denver, you can't get anywhere on I-25 without it literally being like bumper-to-bumper. It doesn't matter if it's in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. It feels like it's always bumper-to-bumper. We do help clients buy or sell all throughout the state of Colorado. And so we'll go to Denver or Brighton, Littleton, are kind of like some main areas that we help service in Aurora. And every single time, it does not matter, there's just traffic. So you have to kind of get used to that and then also just be prepared for it because it could be anywhere from like an extra 20 minutes to an extra hour. But on the smaller roads, not necessarily like Powers or I-25, you don't really have traffic aside from maybe like a 5 or 8 minute backup of some sort.
And then the other thing when it comes to the traffic is if you're traveling south near Fountain or even to Pueblo, I prefer that drive because there's never any traffic when you're traveling that direction, which is super amazing. If you plan on going to Fort Carson, that is where you'll travel, is going to be south on I-25. Mark Shuffle Powers, there's several different ways to be able to get over to Fort Carson and the other military bases as well. But southbound traffic, and they're also developing a lot more. I actually noticed an overpass that's being developed over by one of the military base entrances on the south end of Colorado Springs. They're also expanding Mark Shuffle early on, which is good because there's already a lot of traffic going that direction. So for them to expand it, that's a super plus.
Another thing that's really cool is that we do have our own little Colorado Springs airport. We travel out of there as often as we possibly can because we've never had longer than, I think the longest we've ever been in security is probably like 10 minutes.
Super fast.
And that was long. You get through security really fast. Your gates are right there. It's a super small airport, but you do have major airlines like Southwest, United.
Frontier's no longer there. They did used to be there.
Boo.
Delta, I'm pretty sure, flies out of there.
I don't know. We normally fly Southwest. American Airlines, I know, flies out of there. But yeah, so there's all kinds of like bigger airlines, but it is just super small. You can get anywhere.
Parking's cheaper.
Parking's a lot cheaper. And then they have parking. We don't really have a lot of shuttle places, but like Denver, for example, Denver is a huge, huge airport. And it's hub for a lot of main airlines. And so you get a ton of traffic. The security has been wrapped around the whole baggage claim before, where it's taken an additional 2 hours just to get through security. Now, I will say they are making a ton of improvements. Their security, they have other stations now, and it's super smooth. So it's getting better as they grow, but it's huge.
Yeah, DIA, obviously international airport as well. So if you're traveling international, you're going to have a lot more options with Denver. Parking is much more expensive. They do have
$30 a day.
Yeah, if you park at the airport, it's $30 a day. There is off-site parking, which makes it a little bit more affordable, but then you have to travel 15 minutes on a shuttle, wait for the shuttle. Then you have to worry about traveling back to the right shuttle because we've missed that before.
We have.
So it's a little bit of a pain if you're going to go through Denver, but you have a lot more options. And also, it's worth shopping prices. Sometimes it's a little bit cheaper even with the drive and the cost of parking and everything, to fly out of Denver. It just really depends.
Yeah, I think when we're always planning our travels, I'm big on looking at, like, can we go out of the Springs? Even with a small layover, is it going to be cheaper to do that versus driving an hour and a half to Denver and then paying for the parking there and then going there? So always just do your research on which option is going to work best for you, and what is important to you. Is it convenience? Is it money? Is it safety? Is it anxiety? Like, the Colorado Springs airport is super small, and so I never get anxious going there. Going to DIA, the second that I wake up, and I start to immediately get anxious because I know what we're going to have to deal with.
So airports are great. You have options. Traveling in Colorado Springs, you can get pretty much anywhere in about 30 minutes. Yes, it's growing. Yes, it's developing. Your area is probably doing the same thing as well. So there will be construction in different areas at different times, but it's all a part of living in Colorado Springs.
For sure. Next, let's talk about living near military bases. Colorado Springs has a significant military presence. We have Fort Carson, Schriever, Space Force, all kinds of different bases right around us. Air Force Academy. So what's it like living near them?
I would say the one thing you have to be prepared for is the military training that happens on Fort Carson.
Oh my gosh.
If you live in Fountain, not so much South Colorado Springs, but mostly Fountain, sometimes you will hear mortars. Sometimes you will hear gunshots. It is a part of their training. Do not freak out. Even when I'm in the Fountain area, sometimes I'll hear the gunshots go off, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's just the military base training. Come on! So definitely be prepared for that. In addition to living near military bases, the other thing that I would say is super noticeable is whether you're out in public and you see people in uniform, or even if they're not in uniform, you just feel a little bit more sense of camaraderie and that you're a part of a community that's actually going to care about you. And it's just a little bit more of a comfort feel. Yeah,
it's hard to put into words like exactly how you feel, but I know, Sean's prior military, and we would go out very rarely with you in uniform just because it wasn't something that we would do a lot. But when you do go out, you will see men and women in uniform all the time. And there's just a sense of pride, I think, too, that's really, really an amazing feeling to be able to know that our little town is full of people who are giving up their safety and everything for us to help to serve in the United States military. So that's just super touching. But I think that the biggest thing that I've noticed is that we never had to deal with a deployment or a PCS, which I'm super thankful for. But normally in the Army and in the Air Force, we have a lot of people coming and going, right? So you'll make friends with someone for 2 years and you know that they're going to be PCSing in 2 or 3 years. And I think there's a whole different, we have a ton of military friends. Our best friends are military, and one of our best friends is getting ready to get deployed to Korea in January, right? And so I think there's just a family feeling of people are a little bit more grabbing you in and I'm going to take and I'm going to treasure all of the time that I have with you, knowing that time is so limited, and they just make the best out of it. I don't know the best way to explain it, but it's just very much people in the military know that they're going to be changing hands every 2 to 3 years. And so they treasure that time that they have with someone a lot more than just outside of the military, I think.
Yeah, in addition to that, kind of back onto the first thing that we talked about when it comes to traffic, you don't really notice a whole lot of differences in traffic flows except for near the gates. Near the gates in the morning and in the evening, there will be traffic congestion. There's so many different gates in Colorado Springs, so if you have questions on where those are at, just shoot us a DM or text us, call us, leave a comment below. Those traffic areas can get congested. They are working on different traffic flows to be able to help ease that. So if you are a military member trying to get on base, just be prepared for that. And if you're just a regular citizen traveling around those common areas, also be prepared for that. But yeah, I think the sense of community that the military presence brings is super strong. And to Crystal's point, the relationships that you build in the military, especially for any of our service members that are watching, those friendships go long distance. So whether you make them for 6 months, a year, 2 years, they're still people that you're going to talk to 10 years from now, whether you PCS or stay here. And those relationships just create such a strong bond. And I think that that's what makes a part of the Colorado Springs community so great.
For sure. And we also get a ton of military discounts. A lot of businesses
Everywhere.
are very, very supportive of our military. They offer a ton of different discounts. There's several. And if you want a list of those, we have a list of that as well. So just DM us, send us a text or email, whatever works best for you. But
yeah, and one of our other best friends has a security company's prior service as well, Delta Security. Shout out to Delta. If you're looking for home security systems, reach out to us. We got you covered there. We can get you in touch with our friend Sammy, and he offers military discounts for you as well. Super affordable, no contracts, and no, I was not paid to say any of that.
Are you sure? Here's a fun one. Do we really get 4 seasons in Colorado Springs? I get asked that all the time. Born and raised here, short answer, absolutely yes. But here's the thing, our seasons are a little unique.
Yeah, sometimes you get all 4 seasons in 2
One day.
hours. Less than a day.
What?
2 hours. It can rain, it can snow, it will be sunny, you will see hail, it's windy, then it's not windy. It just really depends on where you're at in Colorado Springs. There will be a giant hailstorm 10 minutes away from you, and it will be super sunny where you're at. So be prepared for the weather. We do get 4 seasons. Spring is your favorite.
Spring and, yeah.
Spring and fall?
Probably spring. I love summers too, just because but I love like the fall weather and the fall leaves changing, but then spring just brings like all the flowers and It's beautiful.
So yes, we get 4 seasons. It really just depends on what you're looking to do with those seasons, I think. For example, it's late December right now, and yesterday was 60 degrees. So if you are an outdoor person that doesn't like the snow per se, boo, whoops, that one went in the house. If you live in Colorado Springs, there's still plenty of outdoor activities that you can do, whether it's hiking or biking or whatever you choose to do. Next week, we'll probably get snow. I haven't looked at the forecast yet, but it's very likely that that will happen. So be prepared for all the different seasons, and what I would say about it is you can't change it. So you just have to adapt to what's going to happen and when it's going to be happening. So pay attention to your weather app. I look at it every day. I inform her of what's going on. But traditionally, I would say our warmest months are going to be June, July, August. Under 100 degrees, usually over 80. It will dip into the 70s for the highs occasionally. I think 2 years ago we got a snow in June, but it wasn't very heavy. So be prepared for that. September, October, those are like your transition months for fall.
Yeah.
What would you say the temperatures usually are? 70 still?
Yeah.
It stayed in the 70s until November this year, which is pretty crazy. And like I said, we're late December now, and it was still in the 60s yesterday. So your heavy snowfall will usually occur January, February, and March. Those are typically our colder months as well. So be prepared for anything. Anything can happen at any time. It could be 60, it could be 30, usually not in June. June's pretty consistent, but all the other months are crazy.
I think another thing too, when it comes to the weather, we absolutely do get 4 seasons. And like Sean said, it's very much, it could be all in one day, it could switch. That's one of the things that I like about Colorado Springs and Colorado in general. But I think for me, the biggest thing is that I do is I always bring clothes for kind of all 4 seasons in that one day, because you never know. And so sometimes I'll layer clothing to where I'll have a tank top and then a shirt over that. And I always have a hoodie. I'm obsessed with hoodies because even in like the cooler months, it's nice just to be able to put a hoodie on. Plus I like to be comfortable. But then even in like our spring, you'll get that fall, the spring like brisk of cold air, and it's cold, but you don't want to wear like a big coat or it's not that cold. So layers are really big. Bring a long sleeve shirt, bring a hoodie, have a jacket just in case, and then also just always wear a tank top underneath, especially in like that spring and summer months, so that way you can easily like tear off clothes.
2 things we're terrible at: umbrellas.
Nope.
I don't think we can keep one ever. We
Nope.
buy them every year, we use them, and then they get lost.
I don't think honestly, like, I can't even count on one hand how many times we've ever used an umbrella.
No, I don't think we ever have. We bought them, we put them in the car, and then we never use them.
No.
And 2 is keeping the winter items stored appropriately so that we can find them the following year. Beanies we're pretty good at, but gloves, I don't think we've kept a pair of gloves for a year.
No, we lose them all the time.
So plan on organizing your home accordingly for all of the seasons of clothes that you're going to need. Don't talk to her about the closet. That's a whole nother story. We'll touch on that another day.
There's nothing wrong with our closet. Just because it has like 55 hoodies in it. Hey, I can find a hoodie anytime I want. So
True.
now question number 4. How far is Colorado Springs from the major cities? If you're planning to venture out of town or you need to travel for work, here's what you're going to need to know.
Biggest thing is travel to Denver. That's the number one question that I would say that we get asked. Depending on where you're at in Springs and where you're at in Denver, I would say you can get there between 60 minutes and an hour and a half, depending on what time of day you're leaving and what route you're taking as well. Denver is commonly traveled to from Colorado Springs for people that work there because Colorado Springs cost of living is way cheaper. So people will easily take the commute, especially with hybrids and electric cars and all the things that we have these days to keep cost of fuel so low. I would say that it is very manageable and doable to live in Colorado Springs and travel to Denver.
Definitely not something that I would want to do.
No, me either.
But there are also too, I mean, especially since COVID, there's so many like stay at home, work from home type positions, but then you do have to travel to your corporation or your job so that allows you to be able to have a little bit better of a cost of living lifestyle in Colorado Springs, but then still be able to travel to Denver if you have to go in for like that one random meeting, or even if you're meeting family and friends like we do a lot.
Right.
It is really I-25. They've gotten most of the construction. I mean, there's always going to be construction, you guys. It doesn't matter. I guarantee in 10 years when we do a video on what life looks like in Colorado Springs, I guarantee there's still construction going on. But I-25 has really grown, and they have really made it pretty easy to be able to get from Colorado Springs to Denver pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then you have Castle Rock, which is just a little bit south of Denver. A lot of people will go there as well. Again, depending on where you're at in Colorado Springs, you can get to Castle Rock in about 45 minutes.
And they have amazing outlets. Not like we're talking about that right now, but we love to go there. The Nike outlet store, IKEA's there. Or not. No, I guess IKEA's a little bit further north.
Yeah.
What's the other store that we go there?
We go there for a lot of stuff. There's Under Armour, there's Tommy Hilfiger, there's Lululemon, there's
Ralph Lauren.
There's
tons.
anything. There's not Bed Bath & Beyond it.
Yeah, that is. Or Bed Bath & Body Works.
Bath & Body Works,
yeah.
That one. There's so many different stores to look at in Castle Rock and outlets. That's primarily the reason that we would go there. There's other stuff to do in Castle Rock as well, though. And it's a nice little easy drive where you're not stuck in traffic, really. So a lot of people will commute to Castle Rock. Slightly south of Castle Rock, you would have Monument. Again, depending on where you're at in Springs, you can get there in 15 minutes if you're on the north end, about 30 minutes if you're more in town in Colorado Springs. Monument's a great little suburb north of Colorado Springs. The lake there is amazing, so if you need to go to a close lake, that's amazing. Bistro on Second. It's just more of a historic charm type town. Although they are starting to build more houses over there, brand new builds, which is exciting. You can get a 1940s home right next to a 2024-25 home.
Yeah, they've really expanded, and there's a ton of gorgeous, gorgeous homes that are available. We just went with a client a few months ago and helped them pick out their new build, which was stunning. But
yep. The other one I would say if you're traveling south is going to be Pueblo.
Good old Pueblo.
Good old Pueblo and Pueblo West. So that could be anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on where you're at in Colorado Springs on the south end, more towards the north end. That one is a super easy drive, though. You're not really going to hit traffic. So Pueblo Lake, Pueblo Reservoir is great. We do
go to Pueblo Lake, not as much as we should. We have a lot of clients in Pueblo that we help because Colorado Springs, kind of like how Denver has outgrown to where people come to Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs people now, because we have grown so much, and our average price point right now for a home is we just did the update.
485.
495, almost 500,000, right, in Colorado Springs, and that's your average. And so we have a lot of clients that will adventure to Pueblo because you do get a little bit more bang for your buck in Pueblo. It's just a drive, right? And it's a whole different community down there. Pueblo West is probably one of the biggest areas that we help people buy and sell in. But that drive is, we have clients that go to Fort Carson all the time, and it's a super easy drive.
Yeah, a lot of our military clients choose to live in Pueblo for the same reason that people live in Colorado Springs and commute to Denver. Cost of living's a little bit cheaper, it's less populated, so people choose to commute half an hour to Fort Carson from the Pueblo area. Number 5 on our list is, what are winters like and how do you actually prepare for winter in Colorado Springs? I've talked about this previously. I would say the number one thing that you can do for yourself as a service is to have an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle with the proper tires. Colorado Springs is weird because you can get 1 inch of snow or 18 inches of snow in a single day. The snow doesn't last very long, but Colorado Springs is very used to severe weather, so we don't shut down a lot of things.
No.
You're not going to get called into work. Schools will maybe have a 2-hour delay, maybe cancel. It really just depends on the type of snow.
I would say the schools are a little weaker nowadays to
yes.
where they will call out they'll call a school day if the forecast says that it's going to be super bad.
Right.
And there have been times where it's worked, like it's been legit that they've closed down, and then there's a lot of times where it barely sprinkles with snow.
Right. And usually on average, we would get about 30 inches of snowfall in a given year, but just a few weeks ago, we got like 24 inches of snow over the course of 4 days.
Yeah.
So the snow can definitely vary. Temperatures can vary as well, but I think that the number one thing that you need to be prepared for is traveling around town safely for yourself and for your family. So
and
vehicle security is super important.
Yeah, and if you're not comfortable in it, I do recommend going out and practicing. And,
Yes.
When it does snow, take the time to really go through your neighborhood, practice what that looks like, because it sounds so silly. We're adults, we've went through driver's ed, we've practiced, we've had our license forever, but the climate and coming here, and we've had tons of people come here, and they're like, we had no idea that the snow is going to be this way. And even in states that they do get snow, it's different here. And for the most part, our cities are really good about snow plowing and putting down
the de-ice the night before.
Yeah, and the gravel and all that kind of stuff, but you're still going to have people that will drive freaking Mustangs in the middle of winter.
Yep.
And they spin out and they're in the ditch, and just don't be that person. Don't be the person that thinks that you can go and drive with a regular car in the snow when that's just silly.
And even if you have the proper vehicle and the proper tires, don't speed, because a lot of times what happens is we'll get snowfall, it'll melt, but then it will ice over and you don't know about it until you actually hit the black ice, and then all of a sudden your nice four-wheel drive vehicle is in a ditch somewhere, which I have seen several times just from this past snowfall that we had. So definitely be prepared for the roads. I would say that that's most important.
And plan that in the car, right? So I would do like a extra little box of snacks, waters, gloves, hats, because you never know like what's going to happen, and if you're going to get stuck, or if just plan, just kind of keep like a little emergency kit in your car.
With that being said, she has already mentioned this previously, but layers as well. Like I said, yesterday hit 60 degrees. It was nowhere near 60 degrees at 6 a.m. when I was starting my day. So plan to have layers, because you don't want to be wearing your big winter coat with nothing else to wear when the sun comes up and it is 60 degrees. And the sun here is way different too. It just feels hotter than it is in other places because we're so close to the sun. So be prepared for that too.
Yeah, that's the nice thing though, is that like we'll get a crazy snowstorm or we'll get a little bit of snow, sun comes out and it's melted within a day, which is really nice.
Right.
Because you still get to look at it and see how pretty it is, but you don't have to deal with like the mess or the aftermath. Snow shovel, get one. Leave it in your garage. We got rid of all of our snow stuff because we thought we were going to be moving. That didn't end up happening. And we had our first big snow. And of course, every single store was completely sold out of a shovel, just a basic shovel.
Shovels and anything. We couldn't get a snowplow for thousands of dollars.
I was just going to say, we couldn't get $25 up to like $1,000. We were so desperate because we also had sellers who needed their driveways done as well. And so I highly recommend get one, put it in your garage because you will need it eventually. Mm-hmm. And depending on which way your house faces, you'll either have a very clear, nice, pretty driveway, or you're going to have snow for days and days and days.
If you are someone who spends a lot of time in the garage, maybe look at getting some sort of garage heater. There's portable ones through like DeWalt and other major tool brands as well, where you just plug a battery and a propane tank into them. They do work pretty well for 2-3 car garages. If you're getting into a 4-car garage, you might need a bigger, more powerful one. But if you do spend a lot of time in the garage during the winter times, that might be something to look into as well.
For sure. So there you have it. 5 frequently asked questions about living here in Colorado Springs, from traffic to weather and everything in between. We hope you feel a little bit more prepared in your life in our amazing city. If you're planning a move or just have questions about the area, don't hesitate to reach out to ask us. We've helped people from all over make Colorado Springs their home, and we're here to help you too.
Make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. We release new videos weekly, and we always have something new and exciting to learn about Colorado Springs.
Leave a comment below with your thoughts or ask us any questions you may have. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.